Hey, what's up guys? Welcome once again to this video series in which we are going to be checking out what has been going on with the industries and chemical companies so far. I remember that the main idea is to cover the news based on the column.co, not com.co. It's a newsletter, free. Actually, let me show it for you guys. Let me go here. This is what I want to show you. These are news. Or it's a newsletter which is a very compact in information. I really love it. Simple yet powerful. You get the main idea if you don't like what you're reading. For instance, more resins means less wooden utility pole fires. You're not interested that much in that. You can simply skip it. Or if you're interested, LyondellBasel's future world-scale chemical recycling plant. If you're into recycling or into plastics or simply into being more environmental friendly, this is definitely the way for you to check out some information. I really like it because it's passive in the sense that you're not checking out the content for you, because of course we can always check out the information if we want to, but I really love the idea of getting this content in my email. I read it as a newsletter if I have time. Otherwise I simply let it there. It starts generating, for instance, maybe 1 week, some news emails, and then I check them out. Okay, anyways, let's continue. Last time we left in the 12th of March, which is conveniently 12 days ago, almost 2 weeks. Sorry guys, I haven't been working in other stuff. But let's continue to the news reviews. LyondellBasel's futures world-scale chemical recycling plant. And this trend is very important. I have been noticing essentially that I'm reading a lot of big companies, big chemical and petrochemical companies going for more greener alternatives or more environmental friendly stuff, which sounds great, but it's also because they know that the future is this. In the future, there will be a lot of government pressure, taxation. The same society will be asking for more, let's say, more green stuff, environmental friendly, energy, CO2 negative, or let's say more friendly and taking care of our world or our planet. So let's check it out. The CEO of the petrochemical corporation, LyondellBasel, announced his aspiration to begin a world-scale chemical recycling unit within the next 6 years. Which of course makes sense, guys, because, well, chemical plants take a lot of time to research, design, operate, and the startup and all that. But 6 years I think is, well, yeah, too long. We need recycling plants right now, especially from plastic. And okay, let's go to the bigger picture. The plastic waste problem, and just in case if you want to check out, I really love this also as well. If you're not quite familiar with the topic, you just click it and see what's the actual, let's guess that you're wondering what's the actual problem. You go get redirected. The United States produces far more waste than and recycles far less of it than other developed countries, which of course makes kind of sense. Europeans are always going ahead, as well as Japan, I assume. Okay, the US represents 4% of the world's population, but produces 12% of municipal solid waste. Okay, so that's interesting. And it's always great to hear great news like this, to see that plastic is going to be addressed, the so-called waste plastic. Because, you know, guys, plastics are just thrown away. They do not affect that drastically the environment. It's not like chemicals that will, or let's say liquid chemicals or fuels or VOC or material like batteries that will spill and will directly impact the environment. Plastics are long-term let's say problems. So that's why I think this is not addressed directly. The pyrolysis of plastic waste, which is a very common, let's say the straight approach towards this new plastic pyrolysis capacity plan in the US, which sounds great. I will definitely recommend you, whenever you see CNN, which is the chemical engineering news, go for it, check what's up with that. It's a solution that we see pretty frequently, as stated before, guys. But typically the petrochemical companies are just using pyrolysis all from producers like, and this is what I like. I love hearing out of new companies that may not be the traditional ones, or maybe that has been or have been there. For instance, Agilyx. Let's go for our solution. No, about us. What do they do? Okay, so not so visual. Let's go for the next one. About us. Okay, economically converting waste plastics to high grade feedstock and fuel. So that's what you should be showing. Pretty straightforward, directly landing Nexus Fuels. Okay, so Nexus can dispose of clean plastics number 2, which is high density polyethylene, low density polyethylene, polypropylene, and polystyrene, which is great. And they will convert it to fuels, energies. And we have this other site, Alterra Energy. Okay, also great to hear from them. LyondellBasel is the only large petrochemical company to be developing and planning its own technologies. So I'm guessing it's okay. So this is also what I love. If you have been reading the same content, you will be redirected to the column itself. And this is from 09/09/2020, which is September 9th, 2020, and it talks about LyondellBasel starting its brand new molecular recycling plant. So this is great. It's related, and the column does this for you. Great news for plastic industry. Evonik makes obscure materials for lithium-ion batteries. And before I even start, I can assume there's going to be something related to electrical vehicles, or maybe computers or laptops or mobile phones. If you don't know what's Evonik, it's a German, very important company on chemistry or chemical compositions, chemicals. Has announced multiple products aimed to improve the performance and safety of EV batteries. I'm assuming this is EV, electrical vehicles. No, I don't think that's meaning. Let's add battery. Yeah, electrical vehicle batteries. What are those products? The company is one of the largest fumed metal oxide. Okay, what's that up? Okay, this is the production of silica. Zooming, let's go directly to zooming out. Batteries are complex devices made of many different materials, more importantly the lithium. Typically, it's production of lithium and rare earth metals that get the supply chain spotlight, but these less obvious materials are also necessities. I'm assuming it's the fumed titanium oxide and aluminum oxide, which are used to coat the cathode to avoid cracking. So most likely you require this in order to produce EV batteries. And just in case you were wondering more on this, because Evonik launches, essentially the press release or the direct source. If you're into electrical batteries, go for it. If you're into electrochemistry degree, master's degree or so, check it out. And Microsoft, Chevron, and Schlumberger, which I typically say Schlumberger, but recently I learned it's Schlumberger, something like that, partner up with themselves to work in bioenergy. That sounds great. Microsoft, Chevron, and Schlumberger. New energy, collaborate on carbon negative bioenergy. So not only biochemical bioenergy, but also carbon negative. That's great. Not gonna read this, but you can do it, guys, if you're into this news. Alterra Energy's chemical recycling plant in Ohio got certified. Shell is selling upstream assets. That's interesting because whenever a oil and gas company sells or buys, means that there's something going on. BASF is going to make twice as much acrylic dispersion simulation, and well, that is 12th of March. Let's go a little bit faster. Next one will be the 15th of March. BASF wants to dominate the biosurfactant market. Surfactants are essentially all those detergents or the material that covers these molecules, and are the pretty straightforward or pretty straight approach will be detergents, but of course there are a lot of these type of materials that are used in oil and gas or other chemical companies. So let's check it out. BASF invested in added carbon solutions. Okay, the unique sulfurolipid that BASF has been marketing as Bio2 Life. Okay, let's check out the hype video.
Balance is what we master complex ecosystem.
Actually, sorry guys that I need to skip all this, but I don't want my video taken down. So let's check out what's essentially this content. And yeah, let's go to Wikipedia. It's always better. It's a surface active glycolipid compound that can be synthesized by a select number of non-pathogenic yeast species. And what's the applications? Application as well. To enhance performance surfactant. Okay, essentially it's used to enhance surfactant properties. Okay, a little background. Read more here. Many different. Okay, yeah. Many different uses of surfactants. Applications: wetting, dispersing, emulsifying, foaming, anti-foaming, detergents, fabric, motor oils, emulsions, soaps, paints, adhesives, all that. That's great to hear. Nexus Fuels plans on chemical recycling globally. Okay, let's see what's here. All these. Okay, once again, Agilyx, Altera, and Bright Mark. This is different from the previous email. What's about us? We're on a mission to reimagine waste. On locations, we combine our passion for a more sustainable world with a powerful new approach to solving global waste problems. Okay, so what's this about? Essentially, many of these large petrochemical companies have large aspirations. Shell, for example, is aiming to use 1 million tons of plastic waste per year by 2025. For reference, Nexus has only sold about 1,000 tons. So, wow, 1 million versus 1,000 is huge. But of course, it's Shell. But just to get the idea, guys, this is also important for you guys as engineers to try to size what's going on right now with sizes of processes, companies, markets, all that. Clariant's new JV will make some bio-based chemicals, glycols, ethylene oxide. Okay, we can skip this. BASF has been protecting airplane passengers for 15 years. What's that about? I can imagine it's like some plastic or some material. Deoxo is the only converter removing both harmful ozone and other causing volatile organic compounds. It increases the passenger crew and passenger comfort. Okay, so what's... Oh, okay, it's a chemical used in the airplane. So the air, which of course is recycled, it's used there and it's cleaning all the ozone. Remember, ozone is in higher concentrations all the way up where planes are flying by. So that's also great to hear. March 17th, prices still relatively stable. NextChem will handle Agilyx chemical recycling projects. Okay, we have been hearing a lot of Agilyx or Agilyx. I don't know how to pronounce those, sorry guys. But definitely check them out. Apparently it's something great or huge coming on. Neste gets a little closer to another biorefineries, and this biorefinery concept is great. Jet is nothing more than more creation of oil and gas products. So what's happening on the Finnish? From Finland, oil refiner Neste has chosen Rotterdam in the Netherlands as the site for the next world-scale biorefinery. I'm so excited for this type of biorefinery stuff, which is essentially the same industry but getting newer with new technologies. And of course it's a price or market driven, but of course it's also important for the environment. I'm pretty sure that there will be a lot of new processes that will be much more environmental friendly. Okay, Linde will help make sure quantum computers stay cold, kind of random, yet nice to hear. Linde, if you don't know guys, you gotta know, is one of the most important and old companies. Linde is a gas or cryogenic chemical company. Cryogenic means gases used for cleaning. So for instance, medical gases for oxygen, nitrogen, or all those that you breathe that gotta be very pure. Linde will produce that. But also, as you can see here, and I would never imagine right away, but now it suddenly makes a lot of sense to have a material which of course cools down the computers. Remember that quantum computers are a very interesting concept. It's essentially computers that will perform a lot of calculations, and remember that this type of processing requires a lot of processing power, which goes directly to thermodynamic rules, which is all gotta heat up if you are adding work. What else is going on? BASF invest in biotechnology startup, great. Volkswagen and British Petroleum will team up to expand fast electrical vehicle charging across Europe. This is nice to hear, BP. Okay. What do we have here? Okay. So guys, to be honest, when I see a lot of text, I personally don't read it. I think it's right now, nowadays, you're gonna have a lot of images, videos, infographics. So if I see text, I will skip that. It's not because I'm lazy, it's essentially because I love to get like bombarded with information and rapidly assess if I want to invest time reading or checking out the content or not. SK Global Chemical will build new ethylene plant in China, and Shell thinks that the new petrochemical complex will start up in 2022. So what's this all about? I imagine a USA, yeah, Shell. I'm not gonna do that. Well, sorry guys, I can read that because I'm not subscribed to that website. Let's go now to the 9th of March. Valero wants its ethanol to be even more green or greener. Well, I don't know how can you do that. If ethanol per se already takes CO2, maybe we are talking about related processes or logistics. Texas-based oil refinery Valero has announced a new develop industrial carbon capture pipeline system across the U.S. Midwest. Why the Midwest? There's a lot of corn there. I can imagine that. Let's see why. They want to build a 1,200-mile pipeline system capable of sequestering. Sequestering means essentially like getting all the CO2 and hide it in a place. Okay, why the Midwest? This is like the very first question you will say right there. It's essentially because there are a lot of Valero ethanol plants, nothing dumb there. So yeah, you're using this because you have already the infrastructure there. Okay, it's produced by fermenting corn. As stated before, I was wondering whether corn or wheat, but I think, yeah, corn is... The US has a lot of corn there, guys. So great news to hear. More polysilicon means more solar panels. And this is very important, guys, because whenever I see non-chemical or non-engineers talking about solar energy, they think that this is like just like the sun converting to electricity. But they don't see the materials that are required into converting the solar energy into actual electricity. And a lot of people don't know that we require very random or very specific materials which are not easy to mine or get by. And this means that, okay, you think that you got your solar panel in a very responsible way, but actually it means that maybe you were mining in some other countries, or these are materials that in order to get them you require a lot of CO2 or expenses, which is eventually not that green. But on the long run, we like to think that this is of course for the convenience or the convenience of the planet. So hopefully that's the way. Dago New Energy has announced the signing of a new 3-year polysilicon supply. Okay, zooming out while Wacker Chemi. Okay, let's skip that. Yet another partnership hoping to chemically recycling plastic. I'm not going to read this one for you guys because it's pretty repeated, but once again, I like this in the sense that it's showing you that it's actually happening and this is going on and on and on. Okay. What else is going on? This Polish refinery will construct, okay, dicyclopentadiene. Okay, Texas. The Texas storm hit the chemical industry harder than Hurricane Harvey. I don't remember quite well. Hurricane Harvey. Wasn't... Let's go here. Which 2000? Yeah, wasn't Katrina the hard one? Harvey. Okay, so Harvey is the most recent one, but I think Katrina was the strongest one. But Katrina was, I think, more into Louisiana or something like that. Oh. Anyways, Texas freezes triggers global plastic shortages. And this is true, guys. Actually, just a random fact. I was fixing the garage doors with a fellow friend, and he works in this motor industry of the garage doors. I don't know how to say it, but essentially the motor had some pieces that he couldn't get because those pieces are obtained, of course, from the US, mainly Texas, and they are having shortages. So the problem here is that they are having shortages, and this is essentially because of the storm, because of the freezing, all these crazy things that happened, that if you saw last video, you knew that there was a huge chaos, and it was so great to connect these two things and say, wow, it's actually affecting my life. The chain or the supply chain is being affected so far because of this single natural phenomena thing, this storm. So in my opinion, great to see that actually all these little details are connected and eventually will impact our lives. Okay, so that's great to hear. India will be home to 87 billion worth of new petrochemical projects. That's a great news for India. A lot of people in India, a lot of engineers, prepared engineers, and investment is always great. Investment means more companies, more plants, more projects, and therefore more jobs. More jobs typically imply better paying jobs. Dow says that its cracker in Texas will be running at full rates in a month. I'm pretty sure it's once again talking about Texas. It's about the storm. Yeah, the storms over winter. So they had to stop, and this is of course not fun, guys. March 22, BASF and OMV new isobutane technology to super integrated. I think we can skip that, even though I really liked BASF news. Schlumberger wants in on lithium extraction. So this is great news, and at the same time kind of scary. Lithium extraction is very controversial in the sense that they are like, all the mining processes are not that straightforward. There's always controversy because of the environment and on the mining companies not treating the miners with the best, let's say, human conditions to work there. And Schlumberger is known to be a huge company that always aim for oil and gas. So going into lithium, that's also great to hear. The demand for electrical vehicles, batteries, and the raw materials is rising dramatically. I think this is pretty straightforward. I don't know about you guys, but I've seen an increase in electric cars, mainly Tesla, which are easy to recognize in the cars and the streets of my city, which is great. Okay, direct lithium extraction. This is the process. So let's see what's all about. And of course there will be this beautiful, like, oh, this is nature, and what they don't tell you is they're going to be destroying this. But anyways, let's see what's this lithium extraction technology for 2025. If you're into this, well, once again, guys, I love to see these little things, not that much into text. Current mining, mineralogy barrier, okay. Definitely worth checking out if you're into mining and electro vehicle batteries, lithium, all this. Chart will make some green hydrogen plants happen. And I think we talked already in previous videos on this green energy approach. So it's this green hydrogen plants approach, which is great. Let's skip to the last. I think we're taking a lot of time, so let's go for the last email, okay? Mitsubishi is looking into clean fuel ammonia production in Indonesia. Probably you're wondering why Mitsubishi. I'm a fan of their cars, so whenever I see something related to Mitsubishi Chemical, I check it out, because I also think that even though Mitsubishi is a car brand, it's mostly more a chemical brand or company. And yeah, not so friendly. Essentially, Mitsubishi signs MOU, Memorandum of Understanding for clean fuel ammonia production in Indonesia. Renault decided to join Solvay's EV battery recycling partnership, so that's also great. Once again, EV is going to be something huge. Electrical cars, batteries for chemical engineers, it's going to be out there. The technologies are not quite there, and the demand is going to be increasing soon, if not already happening. And what Air Liquide is trying to make low carbon steel with ArcelorMittal. Okay, sounds great. And last but not least, email. This was sent 13 hours ago, 7 in the morning on my time, which is almost USA Central Time. Prices are decreasing, so actually check this out, guys. 57 the West Texas Intermediate, 61, 60, 64, 65, 66. So in 12 days we have a decrease of almost like $9 or so. That's great to hear, in the sense that, of course, cheaper oil typically means cheaper energy, but there's a curve. Eventually you don't want oil to be that low, because that means not great for our oil and gas company friends working there. Invista's new ADN Tech is now running in Victoria. Okay, Invista actually is, I think, a company that produces textiles, mainly nylon and polyester. Yeah, Invista actually was in my city, and I work for the, let's say, the company that work against, not against, but let's say that they are not directly working against them, but they're in the same textile industry. We used to produce polyester, and they used to produce nylon, but the nylon industry decreased since maybe 20 years ago, and the polyester industry keeps going on. So that's great to hear, in the sense that I was in the correct company. If I will have to stay there, I will be happy. Anyways, Invista has announced the completion of ADN at the Ponytrill. Sorry guys, because I tried to translate this, because in Spanish it's a little bit funnier to say Adipo. Anyways, Invista decided to upgrade this plant a few years ago. Started construction back in 2000. Okay, a little bit of context. Supply is tight. Well, essentially it's talking about ADN. I do think ADN is a very small application, in the sense that I'm pretty sure not so many of you guys will be interested, but if you are, you can always check out the press release right here and read all what's happening with this. Green hydrogen and other chemicals coming to India, which is great, guys, because India has been struggling to get green, let's say, investments in India, because of course all the, let's say, developed countries want to keep their green technologies at home, and they go for the traditional approaches, just to say another name, to other countries. So let's see what's happening. Italian EPC group Maire Tecnimont and Italian conglomerate Adani have announced intent to jointly develop renewable chemical projects in India. What type of projects? Clean energy projects, 14 gigawatts of wind and solar energy. Okay, essentially energy production in a green approach. Lotte is one step closer to making lots of BPA. And this is funny, guys, that once I always check the top like 20 chemical companies, and Lotte came there. And my brother currently is in Korea, and I remember that I saw these little candies, and it was from Lotte, and I was like, well, I thought Lotte was a chemical company. And then my brother explained to me that actually Lotte is a very huge super company that has a lot of brands and companies and products and projects, mostly like Mitsubishi that has cars, or Yamaha that has musical instruments, has motors, and has a lot of things. So I was intrigued on that. So Lotte Chemical, definitely check it out, guys, if you're into South Asia. Okay, yeah, Lotte Chem. Okay, CEO, headquarters, Seoul, number of employees, 10,000. And this is also, guys, this is also great to check out, in the sense that you little by little you get improving your knowledge or general knowledge of companies. What do they do? Where do they work? And when you go to interviews, guys, this gets noticed. When you talk about, if you're talking about expansion of green energies, or you're talking about the what type of companies are in these countries, or what type of technologies, what's happening there. This is like general culture, because of course you're not going to be talking about football or the weather or your family with a boss or with a recruiter. They want you to know that you have this casual talk or this casual knowledge on industries, that you are actually committed on this. So this way, guys, definitely worth it. Check out more content on this. And let's go back here. Oh, sorry, I almost forgot what we were talking about. Lotte is going for more BPA, bisphenol A. And that sounds interesting because last time I checked, BPA was not that, it was in a stigma, social stigma, but not an industrial one. In the industries, you still need a lot of BPA, not only for the inflating of plastic for waters or beverages, but there's a lot of applications. So yeah, it was more like a small, like a little stone in the shoe bothering there. And let's go why. Why make more BPA? This is the great question, right? We last saw BPA when it was the MOTD back in January. This stuff is mainly used to make polycarbonates. Okay, so that's an interesting one. Polycarbonates, the plastic I was talking about, the where you fill your bottle. And that's exactly what Lotte wants to do with it. So no straightforward, no fancy thinking, just straightforward. Produce more of what the market is asking. The company is hoping to reduce the cost of its PCs with average demand. Okay, so there's a growth as stated before, guys. One may thought that BPA is not going to grow because the market is not willing to drink from there. But once again, BPA has a lot of applications. And of course, a lot of ads and stuff. The polycarbonate. Also one thing, guys, one thing I want to, if you're going to be reading this by your own, definitely keep track of all these sites. Grandview Research, what is it? Let's check it out. Why is it appearing here? The world's largest and most trusted BI-enabled market research database, okay? And that can help you in the future for something at work, something at school, something you are wondering, and this way you will improve your skill sets. And these skill sets, guys, are not the typical skill set that you will be trained in a company or in the university. And finally, let's check this out. BASF and Mercedes-Benz shook hands and decided to extend their agreement. I'm pretty sure it's going to be something related to paintings or coatings. Actually, okay, yes, coatings, paintings, tires. I don't think so. No. Uses, no. Utilizes solutions. Oh. For more than 100 years, BASF premium automotive refinishing brands support body shops. Okay, yeah, essentially BASF selling awesome paints and coatings. Microsoft and this Spanish refiner are working together to use AI. Okay. I will guess it's Repsol. I'm not quite sure. Yeah. So Repsol, it's one of the largest, if not the largest company on oil and gas on Spain. Why I know this? Because I'm a very awesome chemical engineer? No, because I actually follow the GP or Moto GP, and there was one guy that had this Repsol brand, and I thought this was like a motor brand before, but no, it actually is from oil and gas, or let's say these gasoline or benzene or whatever you want to call this fuel that is used in motorcycles. So that was funny how I discovered that Repsol is actually not a motorcycle brand, but a oil and gas company. And we didn't check all the last little details. Let's give a quick look. Oh, definitely that's me on the chemical analytic lab. No guess. And of course, I always did that mistake of drinking or trying or smelling some stuff that I shouldn't have to. What else do we have here? Carl von Linde, which we talked about. Linde company was founded, of course, by Carl von Linde. Okay, this is not so informative. Shell Motor Oils. Actually, I would love to have one of these like old school oil and gas company poster or so. When your percentage yield for reaction is 160, yeah, classic news. So guys, that was it. Thank you for checking out this content. Let me know what do you think about the news. If you're into more petrochemical things, into more plastic stuff, renewables, if you're into actually batteries, lithium industry, I think there's a lot on this newsletter. And once again, definitely check out thecolumn.co.com, thecolumn.co. I will be adding all the links in descriptions and these cards. I don't know which side it'll be because I don't know, it's left, right, not quite sure. Anyways, guys, thanks for joining. I'll see you in the next news video. Take care. Bye-bye.